Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishapad Paramahamsa Ruguchaya Shota Shata Shishmachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishapad Paramahamsa Ruguchaya Shota Shata Shishmachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Sri Sanatan Bhattaraganathi Jiva Gopala Bhattada Saraganath Sari Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai Prem se ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopa Gopi Gopinath Cham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Mayapura Dham Ki Jai Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Devi Ki Jai Hari Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 10th chapter, the opulence of the Absolute, text number 38. Dando damayatam asmi nitirasmi jigichatam monam chaivasmi guyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham dando damayatam asmi nitirasmi jigishatam monam chavasmi guyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham dando damayatam asmi nitirasmi jigishatam Maunam chaivasmi yuguyanam Jnanam jnanavatam maham Dando damayatam asmi Nitirasmi jigishatam Monam chaivasmi guyanam Jnanam jnanavatam maham Dando damayantam asmi Nitirasmi jigishatam Monam chaivasmi guyanam Jnanam jnanavatamaham. Matajis. Dando damayatam asmi nitirasmi jigishatam nonam naivamsi guyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham. Danda, punishment, damayatam, of all means of suppression, asmi, I am, niti, morality. Asmi, I am. Jigishatam, of those who seek victory. Monam, silence. Cha, and. Eva, also. Asmi, I am. Guyanam, of secrets. Jnanam, knowledge. Jnanavatam, of the wise. Aham, I am. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Among all means of suppression, lawlessness, of all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. And of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence. And of the wise, I am the wisdom. Purport. The many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement represents Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. The wise man is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior natures. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Sapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudhabada Kamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Shari Brijavano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dando damayatam asmi nitirasmi jigishitam monam chavasmi gyuyanam jnanam jnanavatam asmi. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness and punishment, and of those who seek victory and morality. Of secret things I am silence, and of the wise I am the wisdom. Very interesting verse. Krishna speaking to Arjuna, helping us so we may remember Krishna always. So first of all, danda, punishment. So that is required if somebody is not behaving properly. As explained here, lawlessness, so that there's a law, first of all, of the government, and then even superior to that is actually the law of material nature, which is ultimately the law of God. Of course, even ideally, the law of the government should be the law of God, actually ideally. And previously, when the great kings were there, Rajarshi, who were like saintly persons, they were actually worshipping the Lord, and they were representatives of the Lord. So that is also mentioned. The king is a representative of the Lord. And then the Manu Samhita is there, the law for mankind, so established by Manu, the Manus, the different Manus. And I explained the 14 in one day of Lord Brahma. 14 Manus are there. And the father of mankind. So they are great rulers. So they have given some guidelines how to behave in this material world. And ultimately with always Krishna in the center. Krishna has to be in the center. Because ultimately we are part and parcels of Krishna, and we should do everything for Krishna's pleasure. So if one is not abiding by the laws of God, or by the laws of the government, then one has to be punished. And of course it depends how much one is deviating, what offense one has committed. According to that, the punishment will be given. So just like if somebody is committing some crime, so depending on the crime, so if somebody is, for example, murdering, for whatever reason somebody, then so the punishment may be more severe. But even there's different punishments may be there according to the time, place and circumstances. If, for example, it is mentioned also if some thieves are coming to one's house, and then if in self-defense one is killing the thief, so according to the Shastra, so there is that is actually the right to protect oneself. The right is there to protect oneself, and if an aggressor is there, he can be killed. But sometimes, even in that case, then with the modern law, sometimes they will not agree. But one will always, the judge is there, he has to judge. He has to hear the case. And so from various witnesses, and then there's different lawyers are there representing different the personalities which are involved. So, for example, somebody is, when we see on the road, the different signs are there, and if somebody is not following the sign, there's a red light and one is crossing the road by car, then of course the CCTV cameras are there, and then one may be caught, and then one will get some punishment. But that is a minor transgression of law, but still it is also to be dealt with, and then some punishment will be there. Usually there's a fine there, having to pay a certain amount of money. So in this way here it is explained, so when the punishment is given by the able judge, and for the rectification of the person who has done something wrong, so there we should see Krishna also. So the judge or the king is a representative of Krishna. So he should know the law, not only of the government, of God also. And in this way, So one should see Krishna is there involved, because ultimately Krishna, through the saintly persons, he has given the laws also, like Manu Samhita, or even ultimately is inspiring also the government leaders to make some laws, so that there is law, that there is proper order there in the state or in the country. So that is required. So punishment has to be there. So even in regards, for example, of a family, then the father and the mother are there, and if a child is doing something wrong, then he will be punished also. For example, the child is brought up and is also told that he should speak the truth. So that is morality, as explained here also, morality. Niti, and Niti Shastra, moral codes are there that we have to know also. So if the child is repeatedly lying, then the parents will chastise the child, give him some punishment. Of course, that is according to the different parents, they may give some different kind of punishment to correct the child. And so the parents, they are known as Gurujan. Guru, that means a teacher. One is helping, or of course spiritual master, it can refer to the teacher, it can refer to the elders, those who are knowledgeable. Guru, according to Sanskrit, also means vowels are there, a or e, and then the short ones are there, they are known as lagu, and the long ones, vowels, they are known as guru. So guru means heavy with knowledge also. So it means heavy or having knowledge, giving then guidance on how to act. So even the parents are known as Gurujan. So they are teaching the child ultimately how to behave properly in this world, but even more than that there, whatever it may be. So even in this way, so of course, that is for the outside person, he will see that, oh, these parents are chastising the child for the benefit of the child, so the child may become Krishna conscious by doing the right activity, and ultimately by keeping Krishna in the center. The child in the beginning, he may not understand what to do and what not to do, and he does the wrong thing, and then he will get punishment, and he will not see Krishna usually. But the expert parents, they will help the child so that the child may see Krishna also. By keeping deities at home and then telling the child to engage in the service of the Lord, telling the child to chant the holy names. So in this way Krishna is there in the center. And when they're chastising the child, they may explain to him also that lying is not good, and so that should not be done. And Krishna will not be happy with that. Krishna is very happy when the children are following the parents, and when they're well behaved. So Krishna will be pleased. So the parents, when they chastise the God-conscious parents, they will try to bring Krishna in the center. Speak about Krishna all the time. And also while punishing, they may try to bring Krishna in the center. So in an ordinary way, or for devotees also, Krishna will be there, so to rectify. That is the whole purpose of this material world. The conditioned souls are there, and they are not aware of their natural position of serving Krishna. and therefore they are being punished all the time, to be rectified, so that they will understand that actually I'm the servant of Krishna and I should behave properly. So that is Krishna's mercy. Punishment is also Krishna's mercy. So Krishna, so danda, the punishment, that is Krishna's mercy, that is a representation of Krishna. Niti, so moral codes are there, what to do and what not to do. So that is to be followed also. So the main activities of devotional service are chanting the holy names, worshipping the Lord, and that is known as Nitya Dharma, so the eternal principles, or Paradharma, superior moral or devotional principles, which have to be by all means performed on a daily basis. So then the Niti Shastra there, Niti Dharma, religious principles, which may be secondary principles, but nonetheless they're also important. Again, as an example, that one should be truthful. So that is a moral principle, to be truthful, to speak the truth, always speaking the truth. And then, so the, for example, lying, so that is of course forbidden, and that should be given up by all means. So one has to practice truthfulness and one has to avoid lying. Of course, it is mentioned also in some circumstances, sometimes there's a need to lie. Even, of course, the businessman, he will say that to the people when he's giving a price for some of the commodities he's selling, and then he will say, for you, no profit for you, best price, cheapest, no profit I'm making from you. So in this way, from one point of view, he's lying, it is not the truth, he's making profit. Many times he's making a lot of profit, but just in order that he can sell whatever he has and that he can get enough profit, so he has to lie. But that is a very small lie, and that is understood, and that is actually permissible. That is permitted for the businessman to lie a little bit. So he's getting some item for 30 rupees and then he's putting his profit, 20 rupees, and he's selling something for 50 rupees. And he will say to the people, for you no profit. So it's a kind of lying, but that is permissible, that is allowed, that is not sinful. But otherwise, so lying, that is actually also, of course it is a smaller sin, but that is not proper. So one has to follow the moral codes also, which are mentioned in the scriptures. And Prabhupada many times is referring to Chanakya Pandit, who is one of the important saintly persons who has given this Niti Shastra. And Prabhupada many times quotes from Niti Shastra. Matrivat Paradareshu, what is it? I forgot now the Sanskrit. So he's saying that one should see any woman just like one's mother, except one's wife. Matrivat Paradareshu. Dharada means the wife, so it's there. And then the other women, especially with the same age or older, they should be seen or addressed as mother. Of course, if a child is there, female or a female girl is there, if she's much younger, then to address that young girl or young women also. And if you are much older, if you say Mataji, sometimes, especially in India, it will not be so much appreciated. Then usually it is better to say, beta, my child. So these are some practical moral instructions which we should follow. And that is helpful for our proper execution of our duties in this world, and then we can properly engage in our devotional service. Matriva paradareshu paradravyeshu lostravat. Paradravyeshu lostravat. Dravya means items. Para, belonging to somebody else. That should be just like lostravat, just like earth. So earth, for example, that is not very significant. So that is negligible. There's no value of that. So somebody else's property. So for example, if a person is walking and then from his pocket his wallet comes out and falls on the floor. So that is not our property. That is somebody else's property. That is just like mud or earth. For us it has no value because it doesn't belong to us. And a person who is following dharma, who is righteous, who is truthful, he will pick up that person, he will give it to the person to whom he belongs. Whereas a greedy person, one who is actually not following dharma, he will pick up the wallet and he keep it in the pocket and use the money and then throw away the wallet because that is of no use. But that is not proper actually, that is not following moral codes. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. So then all other living entities, he will treat just like he would treat himself. So we want to be loved, we want to be spoken to nicely. So therefore we should also act in this way towards others. We should be very kind, we should be helpful. We should speak softly to others. Like we want to be treated, we should treat others in this way also. Ya pashanti sa panditaha. One who has this vision, so is called a learned person. Chanakya Pandit, he gave many wonderful and helpful statements, and which Prabhupada quoted many times. And so here it is mentioned, and of those who seek victory, so everyone wants to be victorious in life. But for that, so it is explained here that one must be following the moral codes in order to be victorious. So Prabhupada is explaining the most, if one wants to be victorious in some field, the most important element is morality. One should be moral in one's behavior. So sometimes you may see some people, they want to become victorious. For example, in sports also, and so they're playing, but then should be fair play, so to say. One should be playing fair. For example, there's football is there, and so many games are there, and then so fair play has to be there. And one should not, for example, those who are playing football, the opposing party, and sometimes somebody will push somebody unfairly, and that is not acceptable. Sometimes when the judge who is there on the field and seeing that everything is right, sometimes behind his back they will push. Of course, nowadays also everything is recorded on the camera. So, and even then they have the, if somebody is complaining, then they will see the camera. And then they will see if he actually did something wrong, and then he may be punished. Because many times behind the back of the, so to say, the judge on the field, so there's some unfair behavior is there. So, but in order to be victorious, So one should be following also the proper codes of conduct. One should be following morality. So that is important. Or in business also, of course, as explained, sometimes some lying may be there, but in a general way, one should be very straightforward and not try to cheat somebody else. When one is doing business, many times it happens, there's fraud. All the times we can see that in the newspaper, or even, of course, nowadays everything is on the phone. But many times you see this fraud, that fraud, internet fraud, or even bank fraud. So even sometimes I just somehow it is popping up, usually on the phone also, bank fraud. Somebody established a bank, but it was not registered actually. And then people giving the money, and then suddenly they go away. It was not registered, and then they find, and then the people looking for the money is gone. And then to trace it sometimes is difficult. So in one sense they were thinking, okay, well, now we got some money, we are victorious, but that is not proper. Morality has to be there. If whatever one is doing, business, or one has to follow the moral codes. And then it is true victory. If one is properly abiding by the laws of the government, the laws of nature. So if you follow the law of the government, sometimes if one is not following, sometimes the law of the government, sometimes one may not be caught, many times, but one cannot escape the law of nature, the law of God, that we can never escape, and one will be punished. Again, for example, if one is cheating, the government may never find out, the police, CBI, FBI, CIA, or whatever, they may be investigated, they may not find a culprit. But the law of nature is there, the law of God is there. And they cannot escape, and they will be punished without fail. So therefore, one should be try to be victorious in one's field of activity and achieve something, but it should be done very fairly, following the moral codes. That is important. Guyanam, of secret things, I am silent. So that is also important. So of course a secret, so if secrets are there, somebody is saying, I have a secret to tell you. And you said, yes, yes, please tell me. But there's one condition, don't tell to anybody. Okay, sure, I will not tell anybody. So the secret silence, monam, is important. For secret things, you don't go around telling the secret. Or did you hear that? Don't tell anybody. Then one has to be secret. So there Krishna is there. If one is actually, because if somebody is speaking in confidence something, that should be respected. And then in this way that shows one's integrity, that one is following the proper way of action in this regard. So in this way we can also see Krishna there. In another way, monam, so that many, even saintly persons, they perform monam. That means not speaking any nonsense. But then the devotees, they're actually also doing monam. They're not speaking any nonsense, but still they're speaking, but they're speaking about Krishna. And that is also known as monam, being silent if you don't speak nonsense. So that is there, but especially in regards to secret, so one should not disclose that to anybody, secret things. So in this way we may see Krishna in that way. And that should be actually practiced. Even it is known that unnecessary things are there, prajalpa. One should not talk unnecessary thing. That is a regulative principles also. And even amongst it is mentioned the 26 qualities of a Vaishnav. There it is also explained, Moni. He's silent. He's not speaking any nonsense. He speaks only Krishna Katha. Or if some secret things are there, told by somebody to him, he will not tell that to somebody else. Because he's actually Krishna conscious. And he understands the value of that secret, and that it means something to the person who is telling, so that he will respect. And of the wise and the wisdom, so jnanam, knowledge. So the devotee is the wise man, and that's explained by Prabhupada, that the wise man, he can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior nature. So they understand that we are not this material body, we are spirit soul, and we have a connection with Krishna. So Krishna's superior energy is there, Yoga Maya, the internal potency. The devotee is aware of that. And so he has knowledge about Krishna, he knows the process of devotional service, and he can give that to others also. So in this way, the wisdom, jnanam, of the devotee, that is also Krishna. So that is a Krishna conscious person. He's conscious of Krishna, and everything he's doing is for the pleasure of Krishna. And he's trying to see, he's seeing Krishna everywhere and everything related to Krishna. That is a devotee. So devotee therefore is known also, especially pure devotee is a representative of Krishna, is the embodiment of Krishna's mercy. Sakshat dharitvena samasta sastraya. The spiritual master is just like Hari, just like the Supreme Lord, because he's always speaking about Krishna, he's thinking about Krishna, he's acting for Krishna's pleasure. Krishna is in his heart, and he's in Krishna's heart. So that is a truly wise man, he's a Krishna conscious man. He's a devotee who knows what to do and what not to do. And he's also known as Paramahansa. Hansa, like a swan. Swan-like man. If you have a glass of water, a bowl of water, and you put some milk in there, or even you have milk and you put some water inside, which many times when you buy the milk, especially previously, now they have packet milks, but previously many times, so even here in Vrindavan, many times we know we are buying the milk from somewhere, and then you can find out when you boil the milk that actually all the water is coming out. They put water inside, and that is a specialty of water. So if you put in the milk, you will not see that water is in there. But the swan, when the bowl is there with milk and some water in there, that it's good to have a swan. Of course, now they have some instruments by which they can measure. They can see if some water is there, if it is pure milk or not. But if you have a swan also, some people, they're keeping some animals. So if you have a swan, you can put the milk there in a bowl, and the swan, he will take the milk and he will leave the water. So you can see how much cheating has been going on, how much water he put in the milk. So devotee is like that. He sees the essence everywhere. He sees Krishna everywhere. And so he can leave the material energy behind. So that is a wise person. He sees Krishna. And so he's absorbed on the transcendental platform. He's not touched by Maya, by the external energy. So he knows, and of course because of his consciousness, then he's gauging everything is Krishna Seva. But he has the ability to discriminate what can be used in Krishna Seva and what should not be used in Krishna Seva. So we use milk and we use vegetables, fruits in Krishna Seva. We offer to Krishna. But then, for example, wine is there, so we're not taking wine, and Krishna is not taking wine. So that he will leave aside. That is untouchable actually, wine. So he can differentiate because he has knowledge from the scripture, from his spiritual master. He knows what is favorable, what is unfavorable, what is spirit, what is matter. Of course, ultimately we can see Krishna everywhere. Therefore, Prabhupada also said, if an alcoholic, somebody who's drinking wine or beer, if he's drinking the wine and beer, he has heard something about Krishna, but he's still addicted to drinking wine. If he's drinking wine and he likes the taste of wine, if he's saying, oh, this is Krishna, then he will get some benefit also. But ultimately he has to give up drinking wine and he has to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The wise person, he can discriminate and he sees what is spiritual and what is material. And so he understands God's superior nature, the internal potency, Yoga Maya, and he sees also Mahamaya, the external potency. So that knowledge, that is Krishna also. So interesting verse and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Any question? Everything very clear? Hare Krishna. Okay, this is some prasad for distribution. Okay, today you're getting double mercy because I also have some prasad and she brought some prasad also. So we have a lot of prasad for all of you. That is Krishna's mercy also. Krishna prasad is Krishna's mercy. Wow, very beautiful looking, sweet here. Okay, you can all come here. Srila Prabhupada ki. Mahaprasad ki. Okay, yeah, बहुत है प्रसाद, चलो.